Today, Russia announced that the reason they are losing it is because of genetically modified mutants/ninjas which were developed by Ukrainians in bio-laboratories. But more about this in a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And as always, let's begin with the quick update about the map of the war. First of all, we have this footage about potentially Ukrainians destroying the military warehouse of Russians in Melitopol. And the weapon which was used to destroy this warehouse is HIMARS. It has also been confirmed by the Minister of Defense of the United States of America, Lloyd Austin, that America is planning to give 4 more HIMARS systems to Ukraine. Besides that, according to the General of the US Army, Mark Milley, America already trained 200 Ukrainian soldiers to use HIMARS. And one last thing about these glorious HIMARS systems is that according to the advice of the President of Ukraine, Alexei Arestovich, Ukraine has almost finished destroying military warehouses of Russians. That is why the next priority targets for high-mobility artillery rocket systems will be Russian anti-aircraft defense systems and supply chains. Our next stop goes to the city of Mykolaiv, where it has been reported that Russians have been shelling this city this night from Novokakhovka. Another civilian city which was under attack of Russians this night was Nikopol. And unfortunately, as a result of these artillery strikes, a couple of civilian buildings in village were destroyed. Now, a couple more words about successful attacks of Ukrainians. This night it has been reported that Ukrainians did several successful artillery strikes against Russian positions in Novokakhovka. In addition to that, there were several attacks against Antonovka Bridge. And even according to Russian infiltrator in Kherson region, Kirill Stremousov himself, this bridge right now is in very poor condition. What it basically means is that this bridge has many holes due to explosions and only small vehicles can kinda safely cross it. But it will be very dangerous for heavy military equipment to use this bridge. Because let's be honest, if several tanks, which can weigh as much as 50 tons plus, if they simultaneously start crossing this bridge, most likely it will not hold. Now let's go closer to Enerhodar, specifically on the territory of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. A couple of days ago it has been reported that the Ukrainian army was able to destroy a small platoon of Russians. And also earlier this morning several explosions have been heard from the territory of this plant. According to the Ukrainian side, they were attacking the military base which was very close to this plant. But according to the Russian media, the purpose of these attacks was to destroy the nuclear power plant and to create another Chernobyl, which I would say doesn't make sense at all, because why would Ukrainians contaminate its own territory? And while I'm going to the northeast of Ukraine, to Kharkiv region, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel if you like this style of daily updating. Okay, so this night several missiles were spotted which were launched from Belgorod, and the main target of these attacks was the city of Chuguyev. It is reported that 7 missiles were launched from Belgorod, and unfortunately some of them reached their final destination. Speaking about this region, for the last couple of days Russians tried to advance next to this city Sosnivka. But as you can see from this map, Ukrainians were able to resist this attack. Another direction of Russian attacks in the same region was attempted against the city of Husarivka. And now let's go to the most active battle zone of this war, the east of Ukraine. First of all, Russians were able to capture this small town of Khalmisky. And as you can see, this is just another attempt of Russians to capture the city of Bakhmut from the south. It has also been reported that Russians kinda finalized regrouping between the cities of Izum and Slavyansk, and they started launching attacks against this city. Another direction of Russian attacks comes from the east of Seversk. And even though Russians were relatively successful a couple of days ago, today Ukrainian army was able to liberate Verkhnokamensk. So basically, as you can see, Russians are not significantly advancing in this region. And at the same time, Russia itself understands that the time is on Ukraine's side. That is why, as I already mentioned previously, the Russian infiltrators in this region will try to do separation referendums as soon as possible. As for now, it is estimated that these referendums will take place approximately in the beginning of September. And today Putin also made a statement that the entire population of Russia will contribute towards post-war reconstruction of these regions, which is basically basically exactly what I was talking about a couple of months ago, is that Russian government will be destroying these cities, but it will be Russian people who will be paying the price. And by the way, speaking about these additional HIMARS that Ukraine is about to receive in the nearest future, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Sergey Lavrov, also had something to say. He basically said that since Ukraine is about to receive these additional high mobility artillery rocket systems, the purpose of Russia in this war will most likely change. And according to him, the new goal of Russia in this war is no longer just liberation of Luhansk and Donetsk. In case America continues to send HIMARS to Ukraine, Russia will prioritize liberating even more regions. He then also said, and by the way, pay attention here, because these are the words of a Russian diplomat, a person who is supposed to find peaceful resolutions with other countries. He basically said that at this moment there is no point to start peace talks with Ukraine. What he means by that is that Ukraine only understands the language of power, and Russia will be happy to talk this language. Yes, Russian diplomacy 101. And just before we talk about Ukrainian super mutants which not let these poor Russians win in this invasion, here is the final statement of Arestovich about today. He is saying that even though Russians somehow are relatively a little bit successful in the east, and they from time to time capture these small towns and villages, this is just the illusion of Ukrainians retreating from these territories. What he means by that is that Ukraine is getting ready most likely for this one big final push, which will come from any direction. And so Arestovich summarized, Russians, be ready. And if you don't want to miss the moment the counteroffensive of Ukraine begins, please consider checking my Discord, because this is the place where I post news like this as soon as they arrive. In addition to that, we as a community constantly donate money to Ukraine at the end of each month. And so, if you want to be a part of this group donation, please consider checking my Patreon. All the links can be found in the description. Welcome to another episode of Ridiculous Russian Propaganda. And today we have this article from, Western media, but it is referring to the statements which were made inside the Russian government. And it basically says, as you can see right here, that the reason why Russia is losing, it is because of these experimental mutants, Ukrainians / mutant ninjas, which were developed in biolaboratories. The headline itself is ridiculous enough, but no, this is true, this is serious. These are the statements of the Russian government. And specifically who I'm referring to are Konstantin Kosachov, who is the Deputy Speaker of Russian Federation Council, and Irina Yarovaya, who is Deputy Chair of the State Duma. These are pretty high people in government hierarchy. And yes, they're pretty high people. Because what they say is that they have undeniable proof is that Ukrainian soldiers were turned into these killing machines in American biolaboratories. Which also conveniently answers the question why so many Russian soldiers were injuring themselves just so they are not sent to Ukraine. According to this so-called investigative report, they were saying that Russian government found these biolaboratories where they also found some blood samples. And these blood samples, which belong to obviously Ukrainians, and I have no idea how they determine this, these blood samples, they contain several diseases. And among these diseases, there are also several traces of American drugs which are also found in this blood, which once again directly confirms the connection of these Ukrainian mutants and American government. But anyways, the purpose of these human experiments is to see whether they can develop this superhuman which will not feel pain nor fear. And because of this, Americans were able to raise this perfect and cruel killing machines which are killing poor Ukrainians in this Luhansk and Donetsk region and poor Russian soldiers. But wait a second, there is literally more. Whenever these Russian investigators started going to lower levels of these biolaboratories, they found even more blood samples. And according to them, once again, these blood samples contain the proof that the owners of this blood were completely conscienceless humans. These Ukrainian soldiers, according to Irina Yarovaya, were completely stripped from all the humanity, which basically turned them into these monstrous mutant ninjas, which had superhuman abilities. And besides being extremely powerful, strong, agile, and impossible to kill, these were the people who are killing Russian soldiers practically with their bare hands. Oh man, this is the craziest episode of ridiculous Russian propaganda. But if you reached all the way until this point, you're a true hero. And if you don't want to be turned into this superhuman mutant, please consider becoming my channel member. Thank you so much for your attention, check the links in the description, stay safe, and see you tomorrow.